Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. Before I get into my next special guest, I have a new show sponsor I want to talk to you about that I'm super excited. So for New Theory listeners, do you ever feel like you're not operating at full potential? Lately these days, that's me. Maybe you're struggling with focus, you're feeling drained, energy, you have issues, creativity, and or productivity. And if so, I want to talk to you about Magic Mind. Magic Mind is a neurotropic mix that is designed to help you perform your best. It's made with a blend of natural ingredients, clinically shown to improve focus, concentration, energy, and mood. I bought a 6-pack on my own dime before I decided to have them as a sponsor, and it definitely helps me focus, and I'm drinking less espresso as a result. Helps you power through your workday without feeling tired or burned out. There's a special link below for your New Theory viewers. I'll put it in the chat, and I'll also put it in the comments section. Again, New Theory, 10% off. Magic Mind, new sponsor of the New Theory podcast. So without further ado, our special guest, Joe Perri. Welcome to New Theory podcast. How you doing today, brother?
Good. How you doing, my friend?
I am well. Just say hello to some people coming in. Don Vito, how are you, sir? Hey, Marky Mark, we got to catch up. Ciao, Johnny. I haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't done a live in a while. So, Joe, this is a really special
I
event
feel
for
special.
me, and I'm happy to have you on. All right, so we're going to jump right in. So you're co-host of The Skinny with Joey Merlino. Let's start. How did that come about? Because a lot of us are like, holy cow, you know?
Yeah, it was something that was in the works for probably the last year that was getting talked about, and then it really ramped up in the last 6 months. Kevin Connolly, we reached out to him. We thought that it would be a good match. He's a good guy. I feel like we know him forever. And I had to pitch it to Joey, how we were going to do it, what he felt comfortable talking about, how he wanted to do it, how we were going to talk about politics, sports, and things like that, food, cigars, travel, everything. And then you're going to get some bits and pieces of, real life stories that are true. And we put it all together, and it really came about fast. Like, it just happened one day. We're like, all right, you're flying to Florida. We built the studio, and let's get going here.
I love it. So how long have you known Joey for?
I'm 31 years old. So basically before I was born, my father and him been friends for 50 years.
Nice. So that's what's really critical. So I've had shows with people, I had shows on my own. To have the trust to do a show like he's doing and to have it with you is a very big deal.
Absolutely.
And I know that, and I'm gonna be really candid. I was expecting it to be a gambling show and that's it, but he's expanding on the content. Were you surprised by that, or did you see that coming?
I seen it coming a little bit, but I was, I was surprised. I mean, I'm the guy sitting there looking at him, telling the story. So, it's crazy to hear when, you're just staring at him and him explaining everything that happened. But it's just going to be bits and pieces. We are focused more on the gambling and the sports and things like that. But when you hear that story at the end, it draws a lot of people in.
Yeah, they call those hot takes, as you know. So I checked you out a little bit. I like your vibe. I like your energy. For those that are watching, I don't think this is an accident. Joe Perri does have a decent social media following. He has a little bit of how can I say, experience in kind of media and stuff. So let's talk about you for a second and your beginnings and how to start it out.
So I started out just making content really in the beginning of gambling content. All me and my friends betting parlays, things like that. I like making videos. I like being on camera. I always had a big following in the car business, making car commercials. And then people would reach out to me and say, can you make a commercial for a food place? Can you make sneakers? Can you do this? And it just start going and going and going. But I've been into gambling my whole life. That's where really what it started at.
Now, I don't have the clip with me, and I could always put on my community. What's the story with the guy showing up with the gas can wanting to blow up the place? What was that about?
Yeah, that was just a crazy situation. I wasn't there, for that, so I really can't speak on it.
Got it. Now, but I watched that one podcast, and it was excellent. All right, so I'm no stranger to the space. I'm no stranger to doing podcasting. I'm no stranger to controversy, whether I like it or not. You could argue that doing the show with Joey could be somewhat controversial Has there been any pushback, any trolling yet, or has it been mostly positive?
No, it's been really mostly all positive stuff. Nobody has anything bad to say. Of course, you're going to have your haters here and there, but like I was reading, there was 3,000 comments on our last YouTube
Yeah,
video on episode
yeah,
2. There might have been 5 bad comments out of
yeah.
3,000. So I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the belief, and I'm a Catholic. I could probably be a little bit more practicing, but I subscribe to the Christian belief. It's not where you start; it's how you end. And I like
Absolutely.
the fact that Joey's doing a show, and for the most part, positive. He's transparent.
Mhm.
He's not kind of hiding anything in that sense, and I like that a lot. I like you as a co-host. I think you
Thank you. I
bring
appreciate that.
the right energy. Um, 4-0 last week. Let's talk about that. And you got to
Yes.
throw aside for checking out Magic Mind at the link below. You got to throw my people a bone for listening in. Walk us through your 4-0 and walk us through what you got cooking this week.
So last week, of course, go 4-0. Great week. The week before, though, I go 1-2. So everybody's on me. He's making fun of me, telling me you better move to Italy. People are going to be coming after you. You're burying these people. This, that, the other. Then I go 4-0. Have a strong week. Have some underdogs. Last night I get a little cute. I have the Giants last night plus 10.5, which was a loser.
Yikes.
But now I'm heading right now on my way to Penn State. So I
But
love tomorrow night.
real quick though. But the Giants, I like to. I'm a business guy, analyzer type guy.
Yeah.
Give us how you got there, right? Because like I think you might have been betting too much on the defense, and Breida stepped up. Breida got a touchdown. They had some offense, but give us how you got to that pick, if you don't mind your process.
I had information that Brandon Ayuk was going to be out early in the week.
Okay.
So San Fran loves to throw the ball, even though they got McCaffrey, but Ayuk's a big factor on their team.
Yeah.
And then I figured, Daniel Jones coming off a big comeback win. They're going to ride the momentum. They're going in nice weather. Even though they're flying across country, you're still playing great weather. Thought they were going to come alive, their defense. But, I mean, to be honest with you, their defense didn't look bad. It's just the Giants can't score. They just can't score. And that's the problem. They came all the way back. They were back and forth, field goal after field goal after field goal. Can't win in the NFL with field goals.
Now, we'll get to Penn State in a second. Was it the right calls poorly executed, or wrong calls, but just the wrong calls were made, or right calls but poorly executed? What are your thoughts?
I think it was the right calls but poorly executed, to be honest with you. That's really what I thought.
Yeah.
When it happens, it happens more than ever.
I was thinking the same thing. All right, you're going to Penn State.
Yes.
What are your thoughts there?
So, it's the old white game versus Iowa. Penn State ranked 7th right now. There's going to be a little rain tomorrow. I gave the pick out earlier in the week. Over 39.5. I still love the over 39.5. The rain's going to stop around 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Penn State throws the ball. They could run the shit out of the ball this year. And Iowa, they're okay. But last week they put up 41 points. So hopefully we get a good game.
So 39.5.
Yes.
Over. Now, I got some gambling questions, which I know you'd be able to answer. So I'd like to gamble on big events. I'd like the Super Bowl, Kentucky Derby. A friend of mine's horse was in the Kentucky Derby, was a favorite and scratched his last minute.
Best.
That's another story. But I like to gamble here and there. Do you try to gamble and look at, did the handicappers get it right and wrong, or do you look at the teams? Like, are you more of a stats AI guy, or are you more of an in your gut South Philly, espresso and cheesesteak? Give me kind of like your process.
Yeah, like my process is go with what I think, and I always try and figure out what the bookmakers need. That's that. What does FanDuel need tonight? What does Vegas really need tonight? And 9 times they're always you only got to win 55% of the time. That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, I love you. That's hard over the long term.
Very hard. So I'm an underdog better. I hate betting favorites. I really do. So I like taking the points all the time. I like buying half the points. I'll buy up to 3 points if I have to, depending on if I get a better line.
Yeah. So you're more of a gut guy. You're not a quant guy. You're a gut guy. You'll look at the spread but I like that though, because a lot of gut guys will give their analysis of the teams, and you have to have that inside information, right? Or information. But the same token
Absolutely.
is I look at gambling like, did the handicappers get it right or wrong? That's what I think
Yeah.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
What is your trackable percentage win rate over last year, 3 years, how long you've been tracking, and give me some benchmarks last year, last 6 months. How have you been doing with your picks?
So to be in the NBA, I had a great season. I was up over 30 units in the NBA. I mean,
Whoa.
it was insane. And NFL for the year I was down, and baseball I was down for the year. But the NBA and then the NHL I was up also. NHL, I love betting pucks. I love betting totals in the NHL.
Now, are you a guy that money where your mouth is? I bet these units, whatever I bet, or are you might bet here and there, but you sell your picks?
No, I bet, and I bet. I bet. There's, I'm putting $500,000 on a game if I really love it, or I'm putting more. That's just what I do.
Okay, so a guy's watching you. I'm gonna listen to you on your picks. I actually do like your over for tomorrow. I'll tell you why, because it's all quants now. Like there's some handicappers, some old guy in a hat with bad teeth that's still kind of giving their suggestions, but they're running it through AI, and then like AI is like, oh, there's 70% chance of rain. Let's lower it 3 points, and I think that's where you win, right? Because the way AI works is they do predictions. And when they get it wrong, they work to make it right, right? It's like now, like all of a sudden, Matt Braid is hot this week in fantasy because he scored a touchdown. But you got to take the risk of him scoring. So I like that a lot. What has been your biggest stretch, and what has been your biggest loss streak?
Wow. I mean, at one point in the NFL last year, from about week 7 to the Super Bowl, I didn't hit nothing. Right. I was buried that I had to take 3 to 4 months off just to clear my head. 3 months. I mean, you're talking I couldn't hit anything. And then, but from week 1 to when I went on the cold streak, I had 2 parlays for 18,000. I mean, monster parlays plus 18,000 to 1. I hit 2 of them.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
So as my favorite expression, let's unpack this. Okay. So I'm listening to Joe. I like Joe. He seems to know what he's talking about. He's got a pretty big podcast. Already got 10,000 subs. You got the elusive co-host that anybody would want to work with. He probably, he did decide to work with you. Okay, so I'm going to go with a $5,000 bankroll. Okay. $5,000 total bankroll, right? I'm going to take it off the shelf. How much do I bet per unit? How much do I bet per game and per week following? And I'm going to follow you starting tomorrow. I'm following you to death. How much per unit and how many games?
If you're got a $5,000 bankroll and you're going to follow me, I'm only going to give out 4 picks a week.
Okay.
So if you want to divide them, 1,000 a game, you want to do 500 a game, possibly save your bankroll for the following week. If you're only betting 4 picks a week, you can bet as much as you want. I cannot stand if a guy's betting in one night, the board, 12 games a night. Come on, it's impossible.
No, I'm with you on the 4, though. I'm with you on the 4, but I'm going to follow you for 12 weeks, let's say, right? I'm
12 weeks.
I'm going to give you a reasonable amount of time. I think you're going to fuck up some weeks, and some weeks you're going to crush it, right? So I think 500 per bet would be a lot because if you have
2.5 units, 250 a game start out with.
Okay, so you could bet up to 20% in a given week, which is roughly 12% of the bankroll or whatever it is per bet. And unless you have like a super horrific run, pull back. Now, like blackjack, if you go on a hot streak, do you double down or do you stay at that unit interval?
Press. All offense, no defense.
So you're a gambler.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm looking to take this C off of Caesars. I'm looking to rip the sign down. I'm looking to bury them.
Got it. And you don't have to say how you bet. That's your business. But Sportsbook, the apps, like which ones? Like, do you like Barstool, MGM? Are you a FanDuel guy? Like in terms of the
FanDuel
people, you're a big FanDuel guy. Okay,
FanDuel, and then second would be Barstools.
Okay. Did you know that there was a company, and the name escapes me. Somebody may know it in the chat that now FanDuel has their own sports book. obviously, like their own odds making. What is it called? FanDuel. What's the other one? DraftKings does, and now the Score does with Barstool, which is Penn, which is going to be ESPN.
Yeah.
But essentially, all of them, like until you come up with your own odds making system, one company, and the company was like subpar at doing it. So allegedly there was like they weren't giving good odds.
Okay.
Or they were giving favorable odds. But that's the other part too. Do you look at the different sports books and try to find an arbitrage in odds, or is that being too fancy?
Sometimes I do. So in my neighborhood, we have the Turf Club, which is Parks Casino, and we have FanDuel right across the street. Sometimes it's 20 cents off. So I'll go over to Parks. Yeah, sometimes I'll go over to Parks or I'll go over to FanDuel. You might have on a Sunday a guy to score a touchdown might be plus 80 at FanDuel. Go over to Parks, it's plus 200.
So you could theoretically, if you had the time or you pay a kid to do it, just keep going back and forth until you find that arbitrage. Because remember, so because their individual betting is based off of their book. So that would move it quicker than the overall. So if you could find wow, that's pretty smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's right across the street from each other. You go right back and forth all day long if you want.
What about sitting in one of them? Now here's the other part too, and I'm thinking of this just now. Do odds by the like I'm a Caesars MGM guy, right? For the app, right? So I'm a Caesars guy. I think there might be different ones, but I'm a Caesars guy. In the Caesars sports book have the same odds as the app? I think they do, correct? Like yes. Caesar. Okay. So you're probably better off sitting with the one app in your hand at the sports book and going with whatever works.
The problem is sometimes the signal will knock you off. If you're inside the casino, you can't be on the sports book.
Okay. So I want to go through three types. I'm brand new to this. I'm going to follow you into the fire. Should you bet with sports that you like? Do you bet like some people like to keep it interesting and like bet the Giants and they're a Giants fan? Or are you more about making money? You'll bet on rugby. Like give us for the newbie, should they bet on the sports they like or it doesn't matter?
I would bet on what do you think you're going to make the most money on? I hate when people just bet on, if you're from Philadelphia, they bet every Philadelphia team like they're never going to lose a game. That's dead. I'll bet on any sport, horses, soccer, MLB, NFL, NBA, anything, player parlays, run it through the line. Whatever I think I got the advantage on, I'm going to make the most money. That's what I'm betting on.
Got it. Okay, now the mid-level guy, you mentioned advantage. Obviously, information is not public, but remember, information is not always equal, or information may come from different sources. Can you maybe show us a little leg on for the medium-level guy to get an edge? Who should be reading? Who should be subscribing to? Also subscribing to you, but who else?
To be honest with you, I would follow. I'm a big Barstools guy. I'm a stoolie for sure. So, I mean, Pick'em is a great show to watch. In my opinion, it's fun, things like that. But there's a lot of good handicappers out there. Like Stu Feiner, as crazy as he is, he's a good handicapper. He really is. So there's a lot of information out there that you can find. If I'm a mid-level guy that just has a little bankroll right now and wants to make a score, I would really bet player parlays. I think there's a lot of value in it. They're very hard to hit.
You were saying that. Yeah, you were saying that. That's where you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we went in and out.
No,
that's where you can make a nice score out.
Can you
but
throw
if you're a mid-level guy,
and
you don't have a big bankroll, you just got to bet straight, because we know parlays and teasers are for suckers. Straight bet's where it's at, but they're not fun. I mean, really, it's not fun.
Yeah, I like over under because it takes like if I can bet on the Giants, but without being the guilt of going against them or for them. And it's sometimes a coin flip if you think about it. All right, you got any player parlays you're willing to share with us for the week?
So I'm going to do player parlay this week. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you A.J. Brown has a monster game this week, okay? His receiving yards, whatever it is, bump it up to 80, and A.J. Brown to score a touchdown, and then along with Travis Kelce, 80 yards and a touchdown.
Interesting.
Yes.
And then how much? You throw like $20 on it, or?
I mean, it's probably going to be plus anywhere close to 2,000 odds. So we grab 400 real fast.
That's pretty dope. I like it. All right. So what should we expect on the podcast?
Well, this week we're going to be filming from a restaurant. We don't know which restaurant yet. We got a couple places that we're going to do. We're actually going to do it live from South Philly this week. It's going to be a
nice.
lot of it's going to be a lot of interesting stories this week. We have some topics we're going to discuss. We're going to talk food this week. There's probably going to be some food on the table. And then we're going to give a little pregame to the Eagles tailgate that we're going to be doing October 22nd versus Miami.
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, we talked about gambling. You mentioned cigars. Is he a cigar guy? You a cigar guy? Who's a cigar guy?
Joey is definitely a cigar guy. He smokes cigarettes. He smokes cigars. Unfortunately, I don't smoke either. I'm
You
not
don't smoke
into.
cigars?
No, I don't smoke cigars. No.
You have and don't like them, or you never have?
Yeah. So I'm clean and sober 7 years now.
Okay. So you don't want any nicotine or whatever, yeah.
I just don't. And I never really liked cigarettes. Cigars I did a little bit. I was on the cigar a month club, but then I just got tired of it.
So take this as a compliment. You seem like a very extreme guy. I also know this by researching you. And I like the fact that you are clean and sober. Congratulations for that. Respect.
Thank you.
How did you get there?
It was a tough road. Thank God, my family was behind me, the whole time. My wife was behind me. She, always supported me, things like that. But, it was just I had enough. One day I woke up September 11th, 2016. My nose was shot. My family just had enough of me, and it was like I was living like an animal, sleeping on my parents' couch. And I said I told my sister and my mother at the time, I got to go away. I think this is it. And my father just had enough. It was like, you're not going away no more. We're not doing this. Wind up, my sister and mother got me into a rehab out in Malvern in PA, which was the best decision I've ever made. That was my 4th rehab I went to. Wow. And when I was in there, something happened to my father. When I was in there, he took a massive heart attack. So they had to pull me out of rehab like 10 days early. So I was only in there for 18 days. And I just promised myself, I said, I'll never do it again. And that was it.
Wow. What advice do you have somebody who's maybe struggling right now and needs that little push?
Reach out and talk to somebody. That's the first thing you have to do. Pick up the phone. Don't be embarrassed. Always ask for help. Sometimes you just got to swallow your pride.
I love it. All right, because we're going to have you back on, especially if you get the picks right. I know you're traveling and you were very generous with your time. We're definitely going to have you back on, obviously, because we want to keep this going. A lot more to ask. But give us a fun fact or something funny about Joey that maybe somebody may not know.
So people people look at him and see what was in the media years ago. Yeah. But what people don't understand, me personally, he is one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
All he wants to do is have fun, watch sports, and really break balls with his friends. He's completely different from what a lot of people think that he is. He really is. A fun fact.
Yeah.
I would have to say gambling with him is fun. It's really fun.
I could only imagine. Now, whether we like it or not, right? You guys are gonna give some really good content. There are some other people in the space in the genre that are there, and there's also like an ugly part of the space too. There's a lot of bickering and fighting and that kind of stuff. Were you guys like kind of aware of that going in or not paying attention to that? Because like this space, I'm kind of getting out of this space, believe it or not, getting back to business. But you're somebody I want to talk to. You're somebody I respect. My question is, were you guys kind of aware of some of the ugliness behind some of the YouTube stuff, or does it not matter?
So I was aware of it, but to be honest with you, it never affected me. I don't care. I'll always do what I want to do because I know I'm not doing anything wrong. Joey had no idea about any of this. He didn't think that social media was going to blow up the way it did this fast. Yeah. He knew what kind of people were in this space that we're in. But when you bring gambling and politics and that kind of content, you're always going to have people that are arguing and saying shit. But to us, to be honest with you, we're going to beat to our own drum. We don't care what anybody thinks.
I love that. I got a funny Kevin Conley story. So I was at the Entourage premiere. The last season Entourage premiere was actually in New York, believe it or not.
Wow, yeah.
And they had an after party. I think was it at the Met? It was at some fancy place. Went to the after party. I'm 10 sheets to the wind, and Kevin's there, and I kept calling him E, and he's like, that's a character, right?
Yeah. Listen, I have to say something about Kevin.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
One of the best guys you'll ever meet. You know, like I feel like I know him forever. We talk on the phone
Yeah.
nonstop. He became like in this short amount of time, he really became a friend fast.
Nice. And I feel like the latest Gotti was not as bad as people say. And also I kind of feel that although he directed it and produced it, I feel he did a very good job with it personally.
Absolutely.
I think he did a very good job. And just like other shows like Godfather 3 and certain ones, if you kind of sit back a little bit and watch it again and really kind of take it for its artistry, I didn't hate it. I kind of liked it actually.
Absolutely. Listen, you're always going to have haters no matter what you do. So it really doesn't matter.
Nice. Really quick comment here. I'm doing a lot of the business stuff on New Theory. So New Theory podcast. Joe and I talked earlier. I've interviewed an eclectic group of people from the Wolf of Wall Street to Pablo Escobar's wife to now Joe Perri. So I got a pretty eclectic mix. I'm proud of that mix. Shout out to Magic Mind. Link below. Make sure you try it. Get 10% off for New Theory. It will help you focus. It's all natural ingredients. So, Joe, I'll give you the final words before you head to your winning Saturday.
So, if everybody wants to subscribe to our podcast, if you can find us at The Skinny with Joey Merlino. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's on TikTok. Please subscribe. And I want to thank you. I want to say thank you for having me on your show. It really means a lot to me.
It's my pleasure, Joe. Safe travels. I dropped the link below in both chats. Thank you for coming on the show, Joe. I know you'll be back, and congratulations on your show, and have a fantastic weekend, buddy.
Penn State overs.